Hey guys, here we are. We're back again with another Drought and Proud podcast.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Bob's Burgers.
And I'm Nick. And today we're gonna be talking directly to you. We're gonna have a genuine conversation.
Yep.
And
Um,
so,
Hi, how are you? Let's
no,
give him some time to respond.
wow, that's my favorite too.
Oh.
It's just like Dora. No, but so as you guys will probably be seeing, there's gonna be a little bit of changes. I know, uh, last time we talked about whether or not we should keep doing gameplay videos, and it was kind of your guys' decision, but I think we've kind of
Mhm.
decided to move away from that because we want to make content that we're proud of and stuff that we feel like we've put our energy and creativity into.
I wouldn't say that our gameplays aren't, they're not something that we're not proud of, though. I mean, because I appreciate the few that we've done, and I do think that we get very creative with the platform, like, as far as things go. I think it's really interesting and fun to edit the videos. It's just that we don't exactly know what games to play, you know? So we can keep on playing games, but we're limited right now to a certain amount of things that we can do.
Yeah, and we would really enjoy showing you guys games that we actually care about instead of
Yeah.
just random games that we get our hands on. And other than that, it's just making things that we love,
hmm
trying to suit our own standards, right?
hmm So, like, something that I thought that we could do, like, if we ever wanted to do another gameplay, I'd play Banjo-Kazooie on the N64. But I can't find my Banjo-Kazooie the cartridge for it. But besides that, we also don't have a way to record that. We don't have a way to record that.
Also, we recently found out that Chris has tuberculosis.
No, it's not real tuberculosis. It's
No,
fake
no, it's
tuberculosis.
tuberculosis. It's
Nick,
about
stop.
no.
The audience is gonna care.
Well, I guess. All right, whatever.
So,
So we've done a lot of fun things this week, guys. We had this program at our school called Breaking Down the Walls, and basically what this program does is it kind of, I don't know. I guess their goal is to unite the student body, I guess, so that people don't feel out of place there. Because I know, especially in high school, it's easy to feel like you're not part of the group. It's easy to feel excluded. And so basically, what this program did is it kind of takes some of the people that are like on the fringe, and it kind of brings them in a bit.
it starts it off. It's all nice and like cool, and you go in. You're just like, I'm just gonna be sitting in the stands, listening to a motivational speaker for like 8 hours. How long is school? Like six,
Yeah.
6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah, and like that's what it makes you believe that you were gonna be doing. But that's not what you're doing. You have to get up, go, and meet new people, and I think it's really interesting going around and just talking to new people, getting to know them and all. Nick, you broke a.
No, I didn't.
Nick
What were you
currently
saying?
broke a microphone stand.
What were you saying? Go back. What were you saying?
But you get to go around and meet a whole bunch of new people. I met a lot of freshmen that were there that I thought were very interesting and different characters. I recommended the podcast to them, so maybe they're listening right now. So if that's you, then hi. But if that's not you, then I guess I can't really talk to you if I'm talking right now. But I think it's cool because you get to go around, talk to new people, and as that goes on throughout the day, you get to like learn new things about new people. Like I don't know, like it's very interesting. They had some people go out, and there was a part where you cross the line if this thing applies to you. So in the beginning, they start out like, if you like driving really fast and breaking the law, step over the line. And I would step over the line, then I'd go back, And I don't know if I could drive real fast. I could drive like, I don't know. I have a broken car, but something like that. And then later on, he'd be all like, if you've ever been so depressed that you thought about committing suicide, step over the line. And it got really deep real fast. But it was pretty crazy how that kind of all worked out, and you kind of see people around the school and that you could relate to now, and I think it's interesting because like you don't feel alone in your situation.
Yeah, and I feel like it's definitely effective in that it shows you that just because of what people look like on the outside doesn't mean what their home situation is or anything. Or I'm sorry, Chris is dancing. It's kind of distracting.
Nuh-uh. I'm sitting down. I've been sitting down the whole time. How can I dance?
All right. Anyways, but it shows you that we judge people just based on our first like glance at them, but
Mhm.
we're not very good at judging because people are rarely what they seem to be on
Mhm.
the outside.
It's a cool thing because you get to go and you get to see all that, and then you get to learn how to be nice to people and to how to interact with other people. Like you don't just go to someone and then assume that they're having the best day of their lives, and then you just like make their day worse or anything like that. If you do stuff like that, you're a bad person. Yeah. But I think it's interesting because we all get there and we all see all these other people that are having like hard times, and you would have never thought that about them, and you never get to you never think that about anyone like at first glance. So like judging people isn't cool, but like we're human, so we do it anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of a human tendency to just judge people, and I guess it's helpful back in the old days with because you had to judge
Uh huh.
somebody and like what was gonna happen, and so you needed to be ready to like, oh look at this tiger, judging by the size of those teeth, I probably shouldn't try and pet it.
Mhm.
But to be honest, going in there, I wasn't very excited about it. I was kind of just like, man, people gonna complain about their problems. I'm gonna have to sit there and listen to them, and they're
Mhm.
gonna be like, oh, when I was a little boy, my mom said that I look like a potato, and I felt like I've identified as a potato ever since, and nobody's really understood me. And I was kind of just walking in there with the attitude of like, man, if people start complaining about things like that, I'll be like, eh, whatever. But in the end, I ended up like really caring for some of the people there
Mhm.
and being like, damn, I am so sorry.
And the way they ended it was really cool. At the end of the breaking down the walls, they give you stickers and they tell you, now that you've gotten to know all these people, you get to write nice things and put the stickers on the people. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. And that was my favorite part because I got to write a lot of nice things about a lot of people. Got to put it on them, like run away, like hee hee hee, that kind of stuff. It's cool.
It's definitely an experience. If something like
Mhm.
this ever comes to your school or your office or your business, I would definitely follow through with it because
Mhm.
it's really cool.
It's really it teaches you or reteaches you. I don't know, but it shows you that like people are people and people have feelings and that everyone has struggles, and like you shouldn't just judge someone for like what they look. I think it's cool.
What they look exactly.
Yep, exact words.
In other news,
What's that movie that we saw? I want to talk about that.
Chris and I, we were just okay. So I'm gonna tell you the whole story because it was pretty weird. So I'm hanging out at my house. Chris is hanging out at our house, and then our
At our
other
house,
friend,
at my house, I have my own,
yeah,
all mine.
our other friend, right? His name is Nick, and he texts me. He's like, "Hey man, you busy?" And I'm like, "Oh," and so I'm about to answer the text or whatever. And so before I even get a chance to respond, dude calls me up and he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing right now?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, just sitting at home." He's like, "You want to go out?" And I was like, "Go out?" It's like 9 o'clock at night. And he's like, "Yeah man, you want to go out?" And I was like, "Do what?" He's like, "I don't know. Let's go." And he's like all hyper, and I'm like, "Dude, are you on drugs?" And he's like, "Nah man, I just got cabin fever. Let's go do something right now."
Hmm.
And I was like, you want me to like look up some stuff to do first?" And he was like, "Nah man, I'll be there in a second." Dude just shows up at my house.
Hmm.
Just shows up and he's out there in the car. He calls me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm outside." I'm like, "Oh shit, he's actually here."
Well, currently I'm sitting at home and I'm just like doing nothing, and I'm all like, "Hey, Nick, do you want to do something?" And Nick's all like, "Yeah, man, my friend Nick, he's just calling me up. He says he want to do something. He's actually here right now. You want to come?" And I'm all like, "Yeah."
And I was like, please come, because this will be really weird if we kind of just go out randomly.
Uh-huh. So I ended up getting in the car and we ended up going to see a movie, and that movie was called.
Arrival with Amy Adams.
And who else was it? The Hawkeye guy. I don't know his name.
Hawkeye guy. He's the
Hawkeye,
guy with the
Hawkeye guy.
Hawkeye. Yeah, but it was that guy, Jeremy Spiner. That's not his actual name.
His actually name.
No, it's not his name, but we're gonna call him Jeremy.
Yeah, I could look up the name right now.
No, it doesn't matter. And so we're watching that, and it was pretty cool. And
Whoa.
basically, while we were there, uh, watching that movie, it was super interesting. And we're not gonna give you spoilers, but basically, aliens come down, and then it's all like, "Oh, gotta learn how to speak their language."
I thought it was really interesting. It was a different like thing on like the alien kind of movie sci-fi kind of thing, where it's not the aliens weren't really the main focus. It was more like the causes and effects of what happened when the aliens got there.
And I really like that because I feel like if aliens were to come to Earth, it would kind of show everybody that we're not as important in the universe as we think we are, and I think we would kind of unify around that.
I liked the idea where they just had the aliens there, and then the whole entire world was all like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And like, you don't even really see the aliens. That's the thing. Like, a lot of sci-fi movies will take the concept and they'll be all like, "We're in space. We're gonna do all this stuff with CGI," but the movie just like it let you know that aliens existed and that they were there and that we had to talk to them and communicate or whatever. Um, and then it was just kind of like, yeah, that's it. Like, you weren't like, whoa, with like seeing the aliens. You were just kind of like interested in what was happening, as
Exactly.
opposed to like what you see.
And I feel like that's kind of a trend in movies nowadays, and it kind of reminded me of the newest Godzilla movie. Because the movie's not really about the monster, it's about the effects that it has on the people. And so there wasn't a whole lot of CGI in that movie, which I liked. But there was this one scene where they were in hazmat suits, and then they jumped into like a zero gravity thing. And Jeremy went from like being just a dude in a hazmat suit to looking like an orange trash bag
Oh,
in,
yeah, yeah.
in like the general shape of a person. And the CGI was just really bad for like 10 seconds. It was just a talking trash bag.
And that's in the beginning, so like I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, is this how the entire movie is gonna be? Just like a whole bunch of bad CGI and like weird story? Because I didn't understand the story in the beginning. It's like definitely one of those movies that you gotta like sit down and watch the whole thing in order to understand. But it's really good.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest it to anybody who was like, hey, let's go watch a movie.
It was funny because we showed up there and we didn't know what movies were there, and it was either Arrival or Doctor Strange, and we're all like, I hear Doctor Strange is pretty good, but we're probably gonna end up seeing that regardless. Now, are we ever gonna see Arrival? Probably not. So that's what we ended up seeing. There was a guy in line that was all like, yeah, Arrival's been getting like really good reviews online and stuff like that. So we were all like, yeah, why not?
And so I asked this guy, I was like, oh, like, would you suggest it? And he was like, yeah, man, definitely, it gets good reviews. And I was like, oh, all right. Then as I turned to the cashier, and I'm like, all right, give us 3 tickets to Arrival right now. This guy says it's good. And so we go in there, and it turns out the guy was actually going to see the movie too. He hadn't even seen it yet.
So we just like blindly followed him and went to the theater.
I told him that if the movie sucked, I was gonna blame him and storm out.
At the end, we ended up seeing him and being all like, that movie was good.
Thank
Yeah.
you for telling us how good it was.
Yeah, man.
So it's kind of sad because I feel like that movie has not really gotten a lot of attention.
Yeah, like no, I remember seeing stuff about it. It's like if you saw a poster for it, you'd remember it from the trailer or whatever. But like, it's the one with like the ships, the giant spaceships that look like rocks. You know?
Yeah.
They don't know. They probably don't.
But like, I haven't really seen a whole lot of ads for it or anything.
It's not widely advertised, and that's what's sad about it, is that like it's such a good movie, and it's probably one of the better movies that came out like out of this year, and like it's just not advertised. People aren't watching it, and like it looks really good, and it's really good as far as like story goes, and I don't know, it's pretty good. Kind of like Eddie the Eagle. Nobody saw that movie, but it was actually pretty good. You know, like one of those movies you go and see, and it surprises you.
Exactly.
And I like that it wasn't built off of like an already existing franchise. I think, you know, like so many movies are today.
Yeah, that can get really annoying. It's kind of just like an oversaturation of like, oh, you like that movie? Well, we're gonna make another one. And you're like, oh shit, look, it's Doctor Strange 6. But at some point, I feel like people kind of get blinded with like, oh, we can make this a franchise and make so much money, you know?
That's what Hollywood is, though. It's just a whole bunch of people that want money for their movies. So they make 500 movies that are all pretty much the same thing or similar to the same thing with the same plot line, you know?
God, and that makes me so upset. Like, I don't want to be that. I want to be somebody who makes something that they care about. I want to be somebody that's like creative, that puts their energy into something and goes, wow, I'm really proud of this. And if some studio comes up and they say, hey, we like that movie, we'll give you 10 million, or that's really low, but however much money to make a second one and make it hella good and we can make money off of it, I'd probably be like, nah, dude, I'm good.
Unless you want to make a second
one. I mean, yeah, unless it's like a really good movie and they'll be like, shit, I could do this again. But in that case, like if I just make a movie that tells a story of like one guy and the guy dies at the end and they walked in and they were like, hey, make a sequel. I'd be like, how the hell do I make a sequel? The main character's dead. They'd be like, I don't give a crap. Just give it the title #2, and then we'll make hella money. I'd be like, I'm sorry, but I can't do that.
That's
Like,
something that bugs me. Like, you know how Mall Cop was really good, and then they made Mall Cop 2, and Mall Cop 2 is just like, what is this movie? Because, like,
yeah.
that's what I feel like they did. Because, like, I feel like Mall Cop was actually thought about, and they actually wrote the script, and they were all like, this is good, this is good. But then they wrote Mall Cop 2, and they were all like, let's just put Mall Cop 2 on it, and then release it in theaters.
Yes, that movie was so bad. And another really good example of this is the Rocky Balboa movies. Like, the very first movie is really good, and you're like, damn, that was such a great story. And it leaves you satisfied. You don't really want more of it. You're kind of just like, damn, that was a good story. But then they made another one, and another one, and another one, and all those movies sucked other than the first one. It was just really upsetting to me, because I'm kind of like, people, it's things like that that make people not appreciate filmmaking as an art.
How would life be if there was a Casablanca 7?
That'd be so stupid.
It wouldn't make sense, first of all. Like, I don't understand how you would get a second one out of that. Or, is there a second Casablanca?
No, there's not.
Casablanca?
Luckily, because it's a story that ends.
Yeah.
It's from beginning to end. There's no open plot holes. It ends, and you're happy with it. You know?
I hate movies that are just setups for other movies. Like, the most recent Avengers movie was just a setup for another movie.
That made me so upset, yeah.
Batman vs. Superman is just a setup for Injustice, and, like, before that it was just a setup for Batman vs. Superman, and you're just, like, never satisfied with what the movie is.
It's so stupid, because by just creating movies that set up other movies, you don't create actually good films.
Yeah. Man. What's
although
wrong with movies?
I do appreciate, like, parodies of films. You know, speaking of Casablanca earlier, there is a movie created by the Marx Brothers called A Night in Casablanca.
Oh yeah?
And it's like the comedic version of Casablanca. It takes place in the same place, and that movie is pretty good. It's kind of it kind of touches back to a movie that was really popular, so they get to use the publicity from that, but then they still made something original and different, like something that you could watch. And, like, even without watching Casablanca, and still be like, damn, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with mentioning or just using the publicity of something else that was popular to help boost your own movie.
It's like what a lot of Netflix shows do. Like, you know how, like, they have Bates Motel and I don't know what else. But that's the one that I thought it was, Bates Motel. Where they take an existing franchise and then they make a show. Is that a Netflix show? That's not a Netflix show, actually.
Bates Motel?
Yeah. It comes on TV. It's not a Netflix show. Never mind. I retract that statement completely. But Bates Motel, like with franchises like that, they'll just make a show out of it. And like Bates Motel confuses me because like the first one, it goes off of like it's like a backstory to the movies, Psycho. And they just have it go, and it's just like I don't know what's happening because this is happening after the fact that this is all happening, like time period wise. But like story-wise, it's happening before, so that's what really confuses me. It's like modern but old.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sequels. Don't get me wrong. You can have some really good sequels.
Like before, we did mention the other Psychos that were there that came out like I don't know how much later.
Yeah, I mean,
they came out in the 80s.
There's like a Psycho 2 and a 3, and is there a 4?
I don't think so.
Well, we know that there's a Psycho 2 and 3. And those two Psycho movies, they're not directed by Alfred Hitchcock, because I believe he was dead at that point. But they are still really good movies.
Yeah. Like, they're movies that make you watch it, and, like, you think about stuff. You're just like, well, what's going on? Although there are cheesy parts, because it's, like, 80s kind of cheese kind of stuff. But, like, I still thought that they were very well. And, like, I know we already talked about this on the podcast, but, like, surprising, you know?
Yeah. And, I don't know. Just the movie industry lately has really let me down, because you go to see something expecting it to be really good, or like just making movies based off of books. I'm really not a fan of that. Like, there are some really good examples of movies that turned out great, like The Lord of the Rings, and I think Interstellar is actually based off of a book as well. But just movies like there's that one that's coming out. Well, it's already out. It's called Miss Peregrine something for Unusual Children.
Oh, yeah, that's off of a book, but I feel like that was done really well, you know?
I read
it. How did it do his review? Do you know?
Not very well. It's about 70%, I think, because a lot of people were kind of like, oh, it was kind of just a way to shell out for money because the book was popular.
Huh. I never read the book or heard of the book. I heard the movie and I saw the movie and I was like, oh, I didn't see the movie. I saw the trailer for the movie and I was like, that looks really good. So like I was planning on going to see that, but I haven't. So what are you gonna do? But like there are all these movies that are coming out with books and like that makes sense because like they already have franchises that are built off of them. But like I don't know, like starting a movie with an audience already, that's kind of like I don't know, it's weird. I'd rather just go and see a movie that exists.
I really like original stories. I think original stories are some of the best movies that I've seen. Just movies that you kind of never really heard of them, but then you watch it and it's just like a completely new idea. And I'm trying to think of a good example of this, and nothing is coming to mind really, and that's kind of upsetting me because God, there's just some movies that it's completely original, it's written to be a movie, and it ends up being really good. And I want to say No Country for Old Men is one of those, but I'm pretty sure that's based off of a book.
I haven't seen that movie. There are a lot of movies out there, but they're just not advertised at all because they're like short films. They're not short films, but like they're small movies that people don't like want to see in theaters. I guess that don't make a lot of money in theaters, so they're not released in theaters, and they're released through other sources like I don't know, like Netflix movies. Netflix movies aren't normally good though.
Well, I mean, there are some really good Netflix movies, though. I mean, you got to give them that. Because, I mean, like, they have a lot of flops. With Netflix shows, I feel like it's kind of 50-50.
What was that one that had Kevin James in it?
True Memoirs of an International Assassin.
That was so bad. Like, we watched half of it, and we were just kind of like, I'm done with this movie. Because it had a weird pacing, and then the shots, like, they were interesting, but, like, it's not like... It doesn't make up for the fact that it was poorly written. I think that's what killed that movie, is that it wasn't written very well. Like, you watch the movie and you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, but it definitely had a good concept.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, I mean, keep in mind that movies have, like, I'd probably say 3 main parts. There's the concept, then there's the writing for it, and then there's just, like, the cinematography itself. Because I feel like you can have a good story and you can have good dialogue, but sometimes if the shots are bad, it just doesn't come out very good. You know, like if the lighting's all wrong and you can't tell what's going on.
I don't know if that was like if that movie's flaw was like in the direction, like the director just didn't know what to do, or if it was in the writing. I'm pretty sure it was the writing because it was really fast. But like they did put a lot of it into the movie, like they put a lot of stuff into there. But I don't think it was all necessary, I don't know. But on that negative note where we talk crap on a movie, let's get ready to end the podcast because we're getting kind of long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so
thank you for sitting and chatting with us, guys.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this nice lengthy conversation.
It wasn't exactly very humorous, but it was very genuine.
Yeah.
So, well, have a good day. This is the beginning of your weekend. We'll see you later.
Oh, have a nice Thanksgiving, too, because this is Thanksgiving week.
Oh, yeah, we forgot. Thanksgiving.
Happy
We didn't even mention
gobble.
Thanksgiving. One quick note on Thanksgiving. I am really upset that Christmas decorations are already up when Thanksgiving has not even come.
Honestly, I don't know why you're surprised, though, because
it
happens every year.
I am not surprised, but I'm upset. Turkey Day is an important day that deserves the respect of a holiday.
This year, Christmas stuff started getting put up before Halloween was even done. And that's
so cringe.
Anyway, so negative, that kind of stuff.
Yay, negativity. On the bright side, got a break, gonna enjoy time with our families, and just remember to be thankful, guys. Have a blessed day.
Goodbye.
Bye.